Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is Big John's Big World. So thank you for visiting. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe, like my videos, and you can also post some comments, suggestions, feedback, or questions. I basically upload things or contents related to teaching and learning English. And more often than not, I upload videos related to the International English Language Testing System, or IELTS. And you can check out my playlist for IELTS speaking, listening, writing, but I don't have videos related to reading yet. But probably in the future, I'm going to develop more content for all the main parts of IELTS. I also had some feedback to upload content related to TOEIC, OPIC, and other English tests. Stick around and promote my channel, probably support this channel, and in the future I'll certainly add more videos related to exam preparation, English exam preparation. All right. In today's episode, we're going to focus on one of the most difficult parts of IELTS speaking exam, and that is part 2, or the individual long term. Many candidates or test takers say that this is the most daunting part because, you need to expand your answers. You're given a topic and then you develop your responses and try to say as much as you can for 2 minutes. So to give you an overview of part 2, it has a total time of 3 to 4 minutes. 1 minute is the preparation time, and you can make some notes and prepare your answers. Many IELTS experts say that you need to make some notes and write down important things. However, it's rather difficult for others who don't want to waste much time writing. They'd rather focus on thinking. So it's all up to you. Personally, I'd like to make some notes, write down important vocabulary, and some things to guide me all through the round. And then, after your 2 minutes talk, there is this rounding off part when the examiner asks you 1 to 2 questions as a closing. There are 4 main things that you need to consider. Of course, this is the same for the entire speaking exam. We have grammatical range and accuracy. We have fluency and coherence, lexical resource, and pronunciation. You need to use different structures, sentence structures from simple, complex, or compound, and compound complex. Use idiomatic expressions or idioms and collocations. However, don't just throw in some random idioms there that you're not sure how to use. It has to come naturally. And of course, for your pronunciation, you don't have to sound like a native speaker. You don't need to use an American accent or a British accent. You just have to speak clearly. You need to be understood and maintain a steady pace. It just simply means don't talk too fast because you might run out of ideas and your delivery might not be clear. And don't talk too slowly either. All right, there are 4 main topics of the IELTS speaking part 2. We have people, places, things or objects, and events. So you have prompt or cue card questions, around 3 or 4 questions, which you can answer. Some examiners or some experts say that you need to answer everything, but it's not necessary. However, the prompt questions are given to guide you. And personally, I think you should answer all the questions in the speaking test, particularly part 2. Now, don't worry if the examiner stops you because it just simply means time is up, okay? You're not going to lose any marks or points. And I have here some tips. Please stick around all throughout this entire video. And I hope that you will learn something. Once again, we have here the quick facts for IELTS Speaking Part 2. You have a minute to prepare, and maximum of 2 minutes to talk. You have 1 to 2 closing or rounding off questions, and these give you a total time of 3 to 4 minutes. And remember to look at the cue card or the prompt card questions, because these will give you a guideline on the topics that you would talk about. Although some people say that you don't have to answer all the questions, I highly recommend it, especially for beginners, because at least you have some kind of a skeleton on what you're going to discuss. You can also take this minute of preparation time to write down, some idioms or vocabulary that you would like to use during your talk. And you should answer the follow-up questions as you do in part 1. It doesn't have to be lengthy. 2 to 3 sentences would do. And the examiner clearly looks for your fluency and coherence. Occasional hesitation for language or ideas is acceptable. And for your lexical resource, you can use idioms or collocations. Some mistakes are still accepted. This is for band 7 or 8. But for band 8.5 or 9, of course, you have to use idioms and collocations almost perfectly and naturally. Grammatical range and accuracy is very vital. You should show different structures and should have minor errors. And for pronunciation, I have to emphasize that your goal here is to be understood all throughout your talk, and use pronunciation features such as intonation, connected speech, word and sentence stress, and a steady pace of speech. Like, for example, you don't say interesting, but you say interesting. You also don't say comfortable, but it's comfortable. So basic things like those. The common topics, as I introduced earlier, we have people, places, objects, and events. Here are 4 easy steps. First is to paraphrase the questions. Don't copy the questions. Introduce your talk. Use openers. I'm going to show some examples later on. And then N means next point or next question. And then extend and expand your ideas. And lastly, you have there keep talking until your time is up. Some students want to have just a minute of talk, but this won't assure you band 8 or band 9, probably lower, bands 5 to 6. Okay, so how do you paraphrase? Here are some examples. The topic is describe a beautiful place to visit in your country. Don't just simply say, I'm going to describe a beautiful place to visit in my country. That is just exactly copying the structure, the pattern of the question. Instead, you respond by saying, I'm going to talk about a stunning destination which people can travel to in the middle part of India. So India here is the country, right? And instead of saying a place to visit, you can say a stunning destination. Next, describe a place that is special to you. You can say, I'd like to tell you about a field not far from where I live. I've chosen this place because it's where I love to walk my dog. And then you continue your answer. Describe a time when someone apologized to you. Sample answer. This is just the introduction, okay? There were numerous occasions when someone asked for my forgiveness, but one thing that I vividly remember happened just 2 weeks ago. I'd like to tell you how it all started. Next example. Describe a TV program you have watched recently. So you don't have to change all the words, as I said, but you can change the pattern, the structure. I have watched several good TV programs recently, but my favorite has to be like that. And then you tell your example, you describe, and say something about it. Now, here are some sample openers. For beginners, you can say, I'd like to talk about, I'm going to talk about, I'm going to tell you about, or let me tell you something about. I'd like to tell you about is. So remember that the opening statement can be the paraphrased question. How do you extend your responses? First, we have here present choices and then choose one. For example, it says, or the question is for you to talk about a place you would like to go to on your next holiday. So you can present three things, like you can say, I really enjoy going to the beach, so I'm thinking of inviting my friends to spend some time in Nha Trang. Nha Trang is the name of the beach. But I am also quite keen on shopping, and I'd like to go to the big malls in the metropolitan areas. But it's rainy these days, so maybe that's not something that I would enjoy. So probably I would try something different. And then you choose an answer, just like that. So is it A or B? Is it A, B, C? Choose one. Next is past, present, and future. You can check my IELTS speaking playlist because I discussed this in one of my videos. Present alternatives. Let's say you have a question that says, describe a favorite restaurant in town. Then you can say, my family and I usually go to this fast food restaurant because it has cozy space and it has mouth-watering dishes. But when I'm alone, I go to, then tell your answer. Or when I'm with my friends, I go to, then tell your answer. Number 4, use conditionals or relative clauses. Relative clauses using which, that, who, whose, whom to give more description to your subjects. Next is compare and contrast. For example, describe a hobby of yours. Then you can say, people my age would usually enjoy reading or watching the news on TV or hanging out with friends. Unfortunately, in my case, I play video games. Although I am old, I don't know, but I am quite keen on playing mobile games or trying out different versions of online games. Compare yourself to other people, and then you can also give a contrast. Why are you different? Why do you have a different answer? Like that. Next, sometimes you may not understand the question, and it's okay to ask for clarification or ask questions, but you should limit it to just asking for vocabulary or clarification. Don't just say, I don't understand or I don't know. You can say, by do you mean what? If I understand correctly, it means that, and then tell your answer or tell what you think. Probably the examiner can help you out. All right, I told you earlier that I would be giving some examples. I think it's better for you to check the description box because I have included a link for you to download some examples of IELTS Speaking Part 2 questions and also sample responses. Don't forget to check it out. Let's consolidate today's topic. We have pink, which stands for P, paraphrase, I, introduce or open your topic, N, next question, next prompt, and K, keep talking. We also learned about double C, present choices, then choose an answer, PPF, past, present, future, present alternatives. We have use conditionals and relative clauses, and lastly, use comparison and contrast. That's all for this time, and I hope you have learned something. You can check out all my other videos and leave some comments. Thank you and see you next time. Bye-bye.